So I've been giving a lot of credit to the libertarians in particular because Thomas Massie pretty much immediately stood up as soon as Trump illegally attacked Iran, and he said this is unconstitutional. They immediately acted when it comes to war powers and tried to block war with Iran. And this is something that is consistent with, for example, like Ron Paul. Ron Paul, when he used to be in Congress, he was just a solid vote, a solid principled vote. And so libertarians, as a general rule, in my opinion, as a leftist, are dead wrong on 60% of the issues and right on 40% of the issues. The 40% includes drug policy and civil liberties and war. And so it actually wasn't surprising to me that Thomas Massie was like literally the lone Republican who actually was trying to block Trump from doing more war. Now, in the media sphere, you have this guy by the name of Dave Smith, and Dave Smith is a libertarian. I would say he's more like a right-wing libertarian, a Mises libertarian. And what I mean by that is, even though he's a libertarian, he's in favor of strong borders, which most libertarians are literally for open borders. And he's also like anti-trans, whereas most libertarians are actually pro-trans because they're pro-personal freedom and individual liberty. So he's like a right-leaning libertarian, but as a general rule, he's good on issues of war. So when Trump decided to launch an illegal and offensive attack against Iran, a country that didn't attack us and wasn't building a nuke, Dave Smith, of course, went on my wife's show, Breaking Points, and said in no uncertain terms, Donald Trump should be impeached and he should be removed for this. And there are also clips of Dave going back to, Trump's first term, or like, I would say maybe during Biden's term, he said this stuff about Trump's first term. But what he said was, Donald Trump's a war criminal. He should be locked up under the prison. And so, it was great that he came out and said, impeach Trump, remove Trump over this illegal and offensive strike against Iran. That's crazy. It's totally illegal, totally unconstitutional. But now he goes on Tim Pool's show, and I sense a wee bit of a backpedal coming here. Let's listen.
Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Do you regret it?
A lot of people made a big deal, but I did say that I regretted it the other day. Look, if I...
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Dave? What are we doing, Dave?
Voting, to me, I have a different kind of theory of voting than most people do. I think it's kind of like, look, either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was going to be president. And I do, you'll have to wait till the end of the 4 years. If this is the end of this war, then overall right now, I'd probably say, yeah, we're still better off that Trump's in there than if Kamala Harris was in there.
It's amazing to me how the goalposts always get moved for Trump, right? And this is what happened in his first term, as I was screaming from the mountaintop what his foreign policy actually was, right? So many people online criticize Obama as the drone president because he did a lot of drone assassinations. Well, Trump gets in there and he increased drone strikes 432%. And nobody calls Trump the drone president except me. In fact, he did 2,243 drone strikes in his first 2 years alone, and then he got rid of the reporting rules around the drone strikes. And so we don't even know how many more he did after that, but I assume it was a colossal amount. And anytime you bring up, Trump's not anti-war, he kept us in Iraq, he kept us in Afghanistan, there's always cope around it. That was started by Bush, and the other presidents kept going, and so, he didn't really escalate, so that doesn't count, or he bombed Syria twice. One of the things you get when you bring up that he bombed Syria, oh yeah, but he bombed an empty airport, so it was just, a little bit of a virtue signal, you didn't really kind of mean it. And then Trump goes on to say, we're stealing the oil from Syria, and these people got nothing to fucking say about that. Right? There's always, it's the neocons around him, it's John Bolton, it's Gina Haspel, they steered him in the wrong direction. It's he fucking hired those people. He increased the Pentagon budget every single year. He killed Qasem Soleimani. He gave Saudi Arabia weapons as they committed a genocide and then blocked a bill to veto that. Blocked a bill to veto the weapons that were being sent there. Tried to coup of Venezuela, ripped up the Iran agreement. There was always something that's no, that doesn't count. It's actually not. And now we get... sure, he illegally and offensively bombed Iran, a country that didn't attack us, they weren't a threat to us, and they weren't building a nuke. But if it just stops here, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And there's this big, weird, in my opinion, debate going on online about, would Kamala do exactly the same thing that Trump has done on this? And I'm banging my head against the wall. How could anybody believe that? Kamala supported Obama's nuclear agreement. She attacked Trump for pulling out of that nuclear agreement. If you think her policy would have been exactly the same, that's crazy to me. In fact, the best thing you could do, I think this is a fair way of analyzing it, look at what Biden did and just assume like the trajectory that Biden was on was maybe one that Kamala would be likely to continue. So even if you say, I don't think she would get back in the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear agreement, which is very possible that she wouldn't get back in it because Biden didn't get back in it. There was reporting that Biden vetoed Israel wanting to do war with Iran. There was a report that Biden said, we are not attacking their nuclear facilities. Full stop. He told Netanyahu that's not happening. So the idea that you could, oh, well, you know, if it stops here, Trump actually is better. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How? Based on what? I can't, bro.
If this is the end of this war, then overall right now, I'd probably say, yeah, we're still better off that Trump's in there than if Kamala Harris was in there. But at the same time, that's over. That's in the past. I voted for him. Now I just have whatever I have. There's not that much influence, but I got an audience and a show or whatever. And so when he goes to make a catastrophic decision like this, I'm going to use, you know, the most influence I can to be like, no, screw you. Do not do this. People who voted for you will turn on you over doing this. And I think that a lot of people, because Donald Trump is so enormously popular with Republicans and just is the most like popular political figure in the country, so many people, and for understandable reasons, that they won't criticize him. They'll criticize everyone else around him, but they won't criticize him. And that's just, to me, that's the role Tucker Carlson is supposed to play. Tucker Carlson is supposed to keep his influence with Donald Trump.
Yeah, but I disagree that the way to do that is to tiptoe around criticizing Trump and to just be like, sir, everybody around you is not giving you the right advice. Actually, at least in my opinion, the way you change minds is more with blunt force truth and being unapologetic about it. Because usually when you give these people an inch, they'll take a mile. So, you know, if Trump thinks, oh, Tucker's against it, but he's not so against it that he's calling me out by name, that makes him like more likely to do it, in my opinion.
I'm just supposed to tell the truth. And so, you know, like my job is to make people laugh at comedy clubs and tell the truth on podcasts. That's all that I get paid to do. So my job is to tell the truth and go, hey, no, this is a horrible decision for a president to make. And look, if Iran had killed some Americans and then Donald Trump had to do a full regime change war or something like that, then that probably would have been worse than even what Kamala Harris would have been, which would have been a disaster also. So
it's kind of crazy to me that a lot of people seem to think, no, this is actually completely over now. Based on what? They already violated the ceasefire when Trump announced the ceasefire out of fucking nowhere, right? The name of the Israeli operation is Operation Rising Lion, which is alluding to the old Persian flag before the new Iranian government took over. So what they're saying is, we want regime change. We want to go back to that. Ken Klippenstein and Seymour Hersh reported regime change was greenlit. I don't know why some people are just like, they can't fathom that this is just another act, just like Trump's Gaza ceasefire was totally fake. Just like the round of negotiations that they had with Iran was completely and utterly fake. Just like the fake diplomacy that they used to lure Qasem Soleimani somewhere, that was fake, and then they murdered him.
You know, we never get to run the counterfactuals. There were a lot of positives that came out of Donald Trump winning the presidency once again.
Oh, here's what I don't understand. As a libertarian, by the way, Dave supported the federalizing the California National Guard, sending the Marines into California. As a libertarian, how could you support that? That's the classic like meme of, please tread on me, daddy. You had like 2 days of protests and like a handful of Waymo cars got burned and everybody else was perfectly peaceful. And he federalizes the California National Guard and sends in the Marines. As a libertarian, how can you support that? Right? But he did. And that's the thing, right? There's always some sort of mental gymnastics to be like, well, Trump has got to be less bad than a Democrat. It really is, at its core, Democrat derangement syndrome. It really is.
I made the joke on X that somewhere in a parallel dimension, Kamala Harris is president, and we've already got regime change.
I can't deal with these people. That's just dishonest. So this isn't even the argument of Kamala would do exactly the same thing Trump did. This argument is Kamala actually would have been worse and already overthrown the Iranian regime, bro. So here we look at a scenario where Donald Trump launched an illegal and offensive war against Iran, a country that didn't attack us and wasn't building a nuke. And Tim Pool snaps into mental gymnastics and goes, this is why Kamala's worse. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
As the people of Iran clap and cheer for the American troops entering Tehran as liberators. And I think Trump is the, here I'll give you the quick version of what I think. I think Israel pressures Trump into the strike. Trump is wishy-washy. J.D. Vance clearly didn't want it. Tulsi Gabbard clearly didn't want it.
Tulsi Gabbard testified in front of a committee saying Iran is not building nuclear weapons. They don't have nuclear weapons. And then when Trump said, I say they do, she comes out and goes, yes, sir. Yes, they do. And I agree with you completely. The idea that they're actually, they're standing up to him behind the scenes. They don't want this. Yes, they fucking do. They went right along with it. And to the idea that Israel had to pressure Trump into doing it, Trump was saying on the campaign trail, go ahead, Israel, attack him. And if you go in, we'll support you. He can't just say Trump is bad and Trump is wrong. They can't do it. It's unbelievable. The spell that this man has cast over at least 30% of the population needs to be fucking studied by scientists, dog.
Trump has said for decades, Iran, no nuclear weapon. He's convinced of it. He says, okay, fine, limited strikes. Now he's getting pissed because it seems like, of course, Israel's intention was never just striking the nuclear facilities. They started bombing the IRGC and other targets immediately after the U.S. did.
Bro, it's people around him. It's everybody else twisting his arm. It's not that he wanted to do it and he was in favor of doing it. No, couldn't be that. Oh, it's such cope. It's such fucking cope. Even when Trump just like flagrantly does something horrible, there's always like, oh, but Kamala's worth. Oh, but you still get some good things out of Trump. Oh, but you know, it's the people around Trump. I just can't. It truly is Democrat derangement syndrome or liberal derangement syndrome or leftist derangement syndrome. That's how I would describe this. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.